Black People Currency Live.
Yeah, we're here. We're back. These weeks are flying by. Yes, they're like, it seems like we were just here yesterday.
Right.
But today's going to be really good because it's just us, at least part of us. You've got 3 admins from Black Currency. We actually have some more admins and another moderator. But what the week makes? We're here with Bob Ponce, Edwardo as well, and me, Deidra McIntyre. And a week ago, I don't even think this venture was on anyone's lips. So they came out of the gate, and all of it, it's a week later, and it's pretty much on everyone's lips. And it's very intriguing for us at Black People in Cryptocurrency because you know, we have many of our, well, not many, but several of our group members in a very similar contract. The contracts are called Hourglass contracts. So when SafeMoon came out, it was like, oh, this looks very familiar, but only a little bit different. So we definitely brought Edwardo in. Edwardo, for people not only the cryptocurrency admin, but he's also founder of Blacks in Bitcoin, which is the oldest Black targeting blog in crypto. And he is a company founder in his own right, Cinema Draft. And the first time I ever heard about what called Hourglass contract was kind of in depth. So he's been kind of like, you know, researching and all this kinds of stuff of this type of contracting for quite some time. So, you know, we're just going to get into it, Bob. I know that Bob probably has plenty of questions to ask, but, you know, let's just kick it off with, first off, if Edwardo, you could kind of explain what makes SafeMoon, as well as anybody else that does an Hourglass contract, different from, say, like Litecoin.
Okay, so it's a smart contract, first of all, which is like, you know, basically if X happens, then Y. They're automated, you know, you can program them, you know, almost any way you want so that they can work, you know, generally trustlessly, so without human intervention. So basically, so it's like programmable, you know, money to an extent. So with these contracts, the first one I came across, and just to take it back, you know, historically a little bit, was called P3D, which I found out actually was like, I think, either the second or third version of trying out, you know, this Hourglass contract style. And for all I know, they could have ripped the idea off from someone else. But as far as I know, back in 2018, I came across P3D. And P3D, as I like to tell everybody, was the only thing that made me money during crypto winter. It was great. I mean, it's 2018, I think the summer 2018, and the way it works is that in their case, it was based on ETH, and ETH was, you know, a lot cheaper back then. I think ETH was about between $300 and $600 at the time, and the gas fees were low. And you basically, every time you exchange ETH for you know, P3D, the token, the price goes up a little bit. But they also take 10% out on the transaction on the way in. And they take that 10% and they spread it out to all the other P3D token holders. And so anytime you want to take it out, they also charge you 10%. And then so the incentive is to kind of hold on to your tokens long enough to earn, you know, up and above the what's essentially 19% if you know, do it, you know, in and out immediately on the way in and out. So that was, you know, that was kind of the appeal, and everyone, and they call themselves a Ponzi scheme. They call themselves a pyramid scheme. They're all really jokey about all the iconography, you know, pyramids and all sort of stuff. So they owned, you know, what they were to an extent. There was no connected product or anything. It was all just, you know, pretty much the revenue came from new users coming in making gains, whatever. And every time you'd reinvest your dividends, they're 10% would be taken out as well and spread as dividends to everyone else. And so there's a lot of jokey stuff about people selling, sell, because anytime you sold, 10% would come out on your way out and be spread as dividends. So we didn't care if you bought or if you sold, just that there was volume. So now, and then it had peaked in July of 2018. There was one weekend, because I got in about maybe 6 weeks late after it launched. And so I was, it's not even so much that was late, I was kind of medium early. And there was a weekend in July 2018 where they finally connected a product, another lottery style type game called FOMO 3D. I actually even wrote an article about it for Black Enterprise. It's on the interwebs up there somewhere. And basically they ran the contract up from about 7,000 ETH to 81,000 ETH, which at the time was $38 million, something like that. And then I was making $1,400 a day for like 3 straight days. I thought it'd last forever. It was great. And then just as quickly as it pumped, it dumps back down to about 10, 12,000 ETH. And then it's kind of bled out over time because people saw that style was not sustainable. And yeah, they, and true to their word, they were, it was a bit of a Ponzi scheme, whatever. But I also saw in there like a really kind of brilliant economic model where everyone, there's no there's no capital gains tax or loopholes where everyone gets charged 10% in, out, or transferring between wallets. It was very egalitarian, and people, talked about the gains they're making, especially if you kept, compounding your dividends to the point where, you could, make some decent money just off of straight dividends, withdraw dividends. So I thought that was a really brilliant kind of economic model that was couched in this really jokey pyramid scheme, type, iconography, that I was like, well, if they had any kind of sustainable, product or whatever, that's smart. So I really started studying it hard for my own project, Cinema Draft, which, is, DraftKings meets Hollywood, like a fantasy sports style movie type of game. I was like, well, what if there was an actual product matched with a token that kind of sustained it? And so I've been really interested and intrigued by Hourglass, contracts ever since. SafeMoon is just the evolution of that. Actually, as is CETO. Ironically, CETO is older than SafeMoon, and CETO is Crystal Elephant token. That's our one of our ABOB picks. I'm in all these different rooms and space. I can't remember how I found out about CETO, but basically they do what P3D did, except they have like a 30-day early withdrawal penalty. So it kind of discourages people from pumping and dumping it. Whereas SafeMoon does exactly what CETO does, except no 30-day early withdrawal penalty, and the 10% tax that's taken on each transaction is divided in kind of in 2 parts. Half of it goes back as what they call reflection rewards, dividends, to all the other holders, and then the other half is actually split in half. Half of it goes into providing Binance coin, and then also the other half goes is matching it with SafeMoon tokens. It creates what's called a liquidity pool, and that's basically just the amount of tokens available when you want to go exchange, and buy some tokens. So if you want to go buy some SafeMoon, there will always be a liquidity pool there for you to buy into the contract with your BNB, and vice versa if you want to leave it.
How did they come up with the term hourglass contracts?
That's a good question. And it kind of made sense to me at the time. It was sort of like, I guess if you turn an hourglass on its side, it kind of goes, there's money being taken, going, there's grains of sand going in and grains of sand going out. It kind of finds equilibrium, whatever. I don't know. That's just what they called it.
Well, it's a cool title, whatever it means.
Yeah, so some of the differences I think that we're getting confused in our group is that people think, a cryptocurrency is a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is Dash, Dash is Monero, Monero is SafeMoon, like everything, and everything is Dogecoin. So, right. Slowly, not even slowly, but it's definitely clear for those of us who've been in the space for a long time, there are genres of coins and they have a tendency to overlap. So this kind of began as a game, but it began as a functional game. It actually worked. It executed a contract. So unlike when you go buy a transaction, that goes to miners. And it's a small fee, especially Litecoin is great. Buy coin, Dash is a great buy-in coin, even over Bitcoin and Ethereum. But you pay the fee, but most people are thinking I'm buying to either hold, or I'm buying to get to another coin, or I'm buying to, okay, I heard it's gonna go up, and then if it goes up, then I'm gonna sell that. They're thinking from a trader's mindset. Whereas this kind of works as a math problem. It's a subtraction problem. So if you're buying into an Hourglass contract coin, no matter how it's designed, you're going to be hit with a fee on top of the normal fee. You're going to hit with a large fee, sometimes 10%, 6%, 4%, 12%. Those are the kind of, mostly it's 10%. But you're hit with a fee that goes to everybody else in the pool. That doesn't happen with when you buy Dash. But then if you stay there and you're hodling, you get this trickle down of other activity that's going on, everybody else in this smart contract, the specific coin. So you get these more coins, and you have a choice of taking it out of the contract and put it in your personal wallet, or you have a choice of compounding it. So because the more coins you have, then the more whatever, or rewards and et cetera, that you can get. So that's kind of like the base model of sort of the Hourglass. So people can distinguish it, but there's shades of gray. You know that when I have Clever, you get rewards. You don't know if you're not even staking and you've done some activity in Clever, you're like, where am I getting these trickle down? So people are borrowing from Hourglass and not really talking that, when I got Tron, I get trickle downs of Tron every now and then for no particular reason. If you had activity, if you kind of just bought, I think I have a feeling if you just bought Tron and you're just not really doing anything, you don't really see that as much. But for whatever formula that they're using, doing Hourglass sprinkled down of rewards, nowhere near to the level of this kind of gamified situation happening with SafeMoon. And some of the other contracts, it's nowhere near, because people are not getting taxed that high. But you see these overlaps of types of contracts to do that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to play a little bit of SafeMoon. They gave an Ask Me Anything, an AMA yesterday, just to kind of talk about some of the allegations made by War on Rugs, a anonymous Twitter account that kind of looks at some contracts and coins and tries to find if there are any problems with the code. And War on Rugs basically accused SafeMoon of having several exploits, which we'll get to in a minute. But and the AMA, the segment that we're going to play with AMA.
Yeah, just tell them real quick who War on Rugs. I can't
repeat that again.
Yeah, no, War on Rugs.
Repeat that again.
The War on Rugs is a developer, an auditing team of developers that professionally audit people's smart contracts to make sure they're safe.
Yeah, and they have an Hourglass contract of their own to be completely transparent. I think it's SafeMoon or something like that. So there's a little developer on developer disagreement here of War on Rugs team saying this and SafeMoon saying the other thing, and they both have some products. So that should be transparent. But I want to play a little bit of their Ask Me Anything. This is SafeMoon's Ask Me Anything.
Here we go.
I'm just going to read it straight up, for people here watching the stream. It has come to my attention that there are still questions regarding the liquidity pool. In many of our AMAs, we have covered this. For the very last time, we covered it here in black and white. The liquidity is formed through the 10% tax on the sell transactions. 5% is reflected back to the holders, and 5% is put into the liquidity pool. There is also a burn, which is separate. The liquidity pools are used by exchanges to create a cushion for buy and sells on exchanges. Thomas, do you want to go into a little bit more on that from your technical expertise? 30,000. Okay, so with each transaction, we're creating an extra buffer for people to be trading on Pancake Swap. So for us to damage people's ability to trade is the antithesis of everything that we're trying to do here. So we're expanding, we're bringing crypto to everybody. You know, the LP is the most important part. It's like the backbone to SafeMoon right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We're not breaking this. We're here together. Yeah. So the LP lock is automated, not automatic. Automated and automatic are not the same thing. So the reason why we did this was for both security and the longevity of the project. We're focused on the future and understanding that, we understand that situations may require the use of the LP. Uses can include seeding other exchanges, creating more backbones, as well as in the last resort for development costs. But that is only, honestly, we haven't had a need, and we don't foresee a need, in the future. So if you watched our other AMAs, you would have known that the LP is a last resort, and we have basically, I'm going to sum it up. I'm not going to read the rest of these tweets. Basically, if we are going to do something with the LP, we'll tell you, even if it includes locking it away. We usually do about once a week, but we let you know when we do it. Thomas. Yeah, I was in Miami, so while we've been down here, I'm away from all of our stuff. So I've been away from the contract owner, which meant that we have been unable to lock up our stuff while I've been here. And we happened to have an insane flood of users. We've got 1 million holders now, guys. 1 million holders, everyone. Right? 1 million holders. Of course, we got a lot of LP tokens. And look what we did. We locked them again and again and again. And we're going to keep doing it. And then, as John was saying, if something comes up that makes sense, we're going to tell you. And then we're going to, judge our reaction based off of your reaction. It's a perfect symbiosis of the community and what we're doing. It's awesome. Yeah. 100%. So, all right, Thomas, I would like you to go through, and also, actually, are you at the booth, Thomas? No, you're fine right there. I would like you to go through the story of SafeMoon. Oh, story of SafeMoon? Okay. So, SafeMoon. Oh, Hank, can you? Thanks. So, SafeMoon Dev approached me early on because he started a project from nowhere. He was learning, he was doing something cool that he really enjoyed, right? And then he approached me after there was too much growth for him to handle alone. He said, Thomas, look, I need some help. I'm in over my head. We need to bring on a team. That's exactly what we did. We reached out to the most stellar people that I know, and we're going to keep doing it. We haven't even touched 1% of the people that I know. So we came out here in a DeFi. We knew that DeFi was hungry for honesty, right? Honesty and adoption. That's what DeFi should be about, right? You can put your face on it, right? That's really important. So that's where we came from, right? And something so explosive can't just come from no one, right? It did. It always does. Where did Bitcoin come from? Where did every other explosive project come from that made sense, right? So that's pretty much where that's the origin story of SafeMoon. We banded together in an extremely, it feels like years now, right? It's crypto years, Crypto years, it's like weeks for us, 49 days in, right? Hank, can you tell the guys what's the market cap right now?
We just broke 4 billion market cap. We have 1.5 million unique visitors to the website.
I've seen enough.
We're gonna get on Warren Ruggs and what they said in a minute, but the reason why I wanted to play that long is because the person with the beard, the man with the beard, technology officer, and he basically said in the AMA that they created this all themselves from nothing. This is a complete innovation of theirs. Yet Edwardo's been studying these contracts since 2018, and everybody else there are tons of these contracts from mostly on Ethereum, also on Tron, and now currently on Binance. they didn't get this contract from nothing. But that's the head of your CTO saying this, that they hired the best developers, they're still hiring and they're building out. And that's their origin story, that it came from nothing. It just came from, months of work. So that's already problematic. But let's get into to War on Rugs. Start with the timelines when they started saying stuff, because we started sharing stuff into our group of when War on Rugs was posting some of the things they did, and then what were the changes that were made, Edwardo?
Yeah, well, so I mean, and all this being a caveat, because I am a non-technical founder, I have a technical team that does a lot of this type of stuff, but I do try to understand it as best I can. I did study code for like 6 months very poorly, like very poor Java and HTML, but JavaScript and HTML. But what I could tell from the discussion of War on Rugs is that they basically showed what something called an exploit. Their whole thing, and I think they're at War on Rugs on Twitter or whatever. They have these kind of fairly somewhat inflammatory announcements that show, advisories, they call them, that show, and the one that kicked it off was on April 20th, scam advisory number 115, SafeMoon, reason. Owner owns more than 50% of the liquidity and refuses to fix it. He could pull LP and sell tokens, creating a rug pull. Likeliness of losing all funds, absolute. DYOR, do your own research, War on Rugs. So, like I said, it's inflammatory, and they have like a nice little, GIF or video or whatever that's like, hey, scary.
Edwardo, could you define a rug pull?
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. Great question. So, I guess there's several ways to do it, but basically, rug pull is a concept where you get people's money in and into a contract, and using some either planned or accidental exploit, you just kind of pull the rug out. You basically either you take all the money, or lock them from getting their money, or do something nefarious where you move the money, and that's been more often than not with a lot of these open source contracts, and unfortunately a lot of these Hourglass contracts, is that a lot of them aren't audited or peer reviewed like P3D was apparently, and P3D, if anyone's interested, is still ticking on the Ethereum blockchain, still has about $8 million of ETH in it. Hasn't been exploited, totally rock solid as far as I know. But a lot of these are designed with hidden exploits or backdoors. I know in talking to our CTO about ways we could do a token for Cinema Draft. Like he was telling me about like what's common in a lot of, especially like the Tron smart contracts, are things like being able to mint extra tokens and having all sorts of administrative functions that mess with the financial parts of a contract. I mean, it's really kind of, and a lot of these were like kind of de rigueur, part of the state of play in these contracts. So I mean, so the fact that War on Rugs identified an exploit, basically gave them a free audit, went up and told them about it. And instead of, and the way SafeMoon chose to respond to it was kind of petulant. I mean, it wasn't very professional. They kind of screamed on them for, because, and not only because they are a competitor too. So yeah, I do keep that in mind. But the fact is they could have just, kept quiet, watch people just kind of lose their funds if someone ever decides to attack the contract. Now, what ended up happening is, so what happens when you create liquidity in like a exchange like PancakeSwap, which deals with Binance Coin, is that when you provide with every transaction, War on Rugs is providing both BNB and SafeMoon to create a pool where people can trade in and out of with BNB or SafeMoon token. And so when you do that, what PancakeSwap does, they give you these thing called LP tokens, liquidity pool tokens. It's basically like a receipt. It lets you know how much you put into this pool, so that if you ever want to remove it, if you want to remove your liquidity, you can come back to the pool and be like, hey, I put in X amount of BNB and SafeMoon. I want it back. So what they did is that instead of burning these LP tokens, instead of burning the receipts, ensuring that this pool will always be here for their users, it's been piling up in the developer account. which is bad. It means that at any time, they could take these they use these LPs to take the money out and rug pull, their users. Now, obviously, with a couple $100 million worth of BNB and in there, it's attractive, but they also have a disincentive to do that because they have self-doxed. They have shown their faces. Everyone knows who they are. Whatever. It would not be wise for them to do that. But that hasn't stopped people before in crypto. BitConnect comes to mind when it comes to a lot of promoters and things like that who disappeared or made off with a lot of money with BitConnect, with the BitConnect Ponzi scheme scam back in 2017, 2018. So what they did, and I mentioned this in the video, was that they said they went ahead and locked the LP, which means basically shoving them into an account which they do not own, almost like escrow. They're basically escrowing their LP tokens for 4 years. And some people think that that's not even good enough, that they should just burn the tokens so they can never be, pulled out of the liquidity. There's another contract that works pretty much just like SafeMoon called SafeMars. And, according to their contract, they burn all the LP tokens like automatically, so they don't even mess with it. What I do find kind of, concerning is that we're essentially putting our trust into a bunch of young men who basically are making decisions with, access to our money on whether on how often or what they're going to do with these LP tokens. And in a space where one of the big attractive features about DeFi is that a lot of this stuff works trustlessly without human intervention, and once you launch these contracts out into the world, they last forever. So so we're basically putting our trust into a third party, and that's kind of what a lot of us came to DeFi to escape.
Yeah, I think that the issue is there are a group of developers that create Hourglass contracts in which they're burning the liquidity tokens, which means if you burn the receipt, you can't go back to the quote unquote digital store and say, give me the Binance ad. You're like saying, look, the people agreed to be taxed and have a percentage of that tax go into this liquidity pool so they can buy and sell SafeMoon and whatever. So why would there need to be a receipt that somebody's holding all the receipts? It was up to, by the time Warren Rugg started talking about, look, there's a unlocked wallet with all these liquidity tokens, it was up to $90 million. So their developers had access to $90 million of receipts that, it only takes one person of the team. It doesn't even have to be the guys that we're seeing. It doesn't have to be the CEO, John, or whatever. He doesn't know his, and the CTO who was there doesn't even have to be him. It's whoever had access to that wallet, they were trusting with 90 that they wouldn't go and, take out and return those receipts and take out $90 million of BNB. So it shouldn't be left to that so that someone is not tempted. So they did make the case where we went away and we locked it. That was after the fact. That was after the report. But their SafeMoon's position is, look, we want to keep some free because we may be using some of those BNB to do some things, hire developers and stuff like that. Well, okay, that's fine. But then why wasn't that in your original white paper? And maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. So I don't want to say that it was never in the white paper, but it's kind of coming in after the fact that, we didn't want to automatically burn them. We didn't want to. The locking was supposed to be automated, but apparently they manually did it. So apparently you can manually lock, or it can be automated. So there's a lot of gray area with these fees, which CETO is really different. CETO has it that all the 10% of the taxation just automatically goes back to the token holders. So there's none of this, somebody snatched up 8% of the fees or 2% of the fees, which brings us to another point of SafeMoon. There's another blog written by Obelisk. It's on Medium. Edwardo, you want to share what they're saying is an additional potential exploit of SafeMoon?
I swear all these articles are kind of blurring into each other, but I will. How about this? I will kind of read the the conclusion a little bit. They said, while SafeMoon's team has been very successful at marketing their project, it's clear that there are many major red flags in the smart contract code. This SafeMoon smart contract leaves users open to being exploited in several different ways by the project's developers. So once again, this is going back to a matter of trust. And investors should be extremely careful of the security risks involved while dealing with unaudited smart contracts. And actually, so you guys can do the reading. It's like it's fairly detailed, lengthy post on Medium, but it's good. It's worth your while. If I can figure out how to. I'll put it in private chat. You guys can share. I'm not sure how to get it.
Yeah, I'll bring it up for a second.
So one of the under the worst case scenario, this is probably the biggest one. And these guys, I guess, are developers. They went and they actually have
audit too. Yeah, they're also auditors because they're marketing. Like, look, you want your stuff audited, it comes off to us, but this is what we saw. We looked at the code.
Right, and they block quote parts of the actual code, and they show screenshots of BSC scan, which is the blockchain explorer and everything. But in the worst case scenario, in this case scenario, the owner, the project developer, would wait until he owns a substantial amount of the LP tokens. The owner can change the reflection fees, once again, the dividend fees, to zero. This is something apparently, I guess, is in the SafeMoon contract. This means that the reflection tax is no longer being applied. The owner changes the liquidity fees to 100%. This means that everyone who's not whitelisted from fees, because apparently there's a thing where an admin function where you can whitelist who gets fees and who doesn't. Anyone who's not whitelisted from fees is now unable to trade SafeMoon. Any transfer of SafeMoon would be sent to the SafeMoon contract balance instead of the recipient, which would then trigger the liquidity logic. Third, the owner removes his LP and dumps SafeMoon. The holders are now powerless and watch the price go to zero, trying to sell through PancakeSwap, which would now require 100% slippage, and any SafeMoon token transfer is sent to the owner contract. Now, mind you, this is the worst case scenario from an auditor. They're trained to find exploits and for bad news, whatever. I'm sure if this video ever gets around, we'll have the SafeMoon Legion, which is rapidly surpassing XRP, Shill, Army, TM, cult-like standards. They'll probably say we're spreading FUD, whatever. I'm just saying, I'm just repeating what an auditor has found as red flags in the code. So I'm not saying, and obviously these guys are trying to purport themselves as being very upfront, honest, whatever. But if there is this kind of exploit, I mean, who knows if it can be kind of backdoored or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's concerning. It's concerning that these many red flags in what is now a was a fully liquidated price, $8 billion valuated protocol that this is out there. And the problem, and one of the issues with these contracts, and part of the reason why I'm studying them so hard and why Symmedraft has not launched our own token or anything yet, is that you kind of get one shot to do it. These things are supposed to be immutable, that once you put it on the internet, it lives forever. And if there's a flaw in it, it's just, you're just kind of stuck. You have to either work around it or figure out a way to get into a new contract. We kind of saw that happen with CETO earlier, didn't we, Deidra?
So yeah, we're gonna get to CETO in a minute, but because just to talk about some differences. But when you have a situation with SafeMoon, you have now two different groups. You have Warren Ruggs that first talked about the first exploit about the liquidity tokens not being locked, and how did SafeMoon respond? Well, they locked them the next day, but not without fighting back and being like, well, your family take off, because they had their own Hourglass contract. So you get this war words cursing back and forth, but then right, SafeMoon acted on what part of what Warren Ruggs was requesting. Warren Ruggs was like, burn it. And we have the situation where SafeMars actually does have the same contract, and they do burn the liquidity token. So it's not like they were asking something that was totally unusual. There are other people who have the contract and they do it. Burn your receipts so you can't cash in the money. Simple. Just burn them. You don't need it. When SafeMoon is arguing, we do need it.
And honestly, just real quick, just to jump in real quick, if you burn the LPs, if you burn the receipts, like you said, then that actually should help your project, I'd imagine, because you're ensuring there's always going to be a growing liquidity pool for people to join your contract. And then when people are going to take profits and exit your contract, they need to know that there is money there to do that. That actually makes your project safer, I would imagine. So I don't know why. I mean, yeah, I mean, as from the outside looking in, and actually marketing, you know, when I do work for other people or when I have in the past, and I guess my career path has been more on the marketing side. I mean, that's just good marketing. That's a smart marketing. Like, look, you will always have a pool that you can, you know, buy into, sell into. It makes it safer.
And then you have Obelisk, which is a completely different group of people who state that they do audit smart contracts, and they're saying, wait, there's a whole lot more. One, they have whitelisters, which means that there are people that are in the SafeMoon contract that didn't pay any fees. And they can put anybody on that whitelist if they want to. And they also have the controls to change the fees. So Edwardo mentioned in a minute that they have the control to change the fees to 100%. Well, what that means is they can wipe out your whole account. Of that and take the tokens from you as you're acting within and out of the country. So there's a number of problems with SafeMoon. The thing that SafeMoon has done right is the awesome branding and the awesome marketing.
The marketing.
If they can fix everything else, to be up to par of the Hourglass contracts that came before it, and we'll talk about CETO in a minute. They're the IBM and the Hourglass contracts. But if they don't fix it, that leaves a big, huge question mark of what are your real intentions? Are you just sloppy? Or, you know, because are you going to blame somebody that, you know, you were ignorant? You can't, now they can't say that they're ignorant. And this is why it's important for developers to speak up and be critical and be not nice. Warren Ruggs was not nice. A lot of expletives were in those.
And they were backed up too. And that's tweet thread, they were backed up by independent people who were not tied to another project, independent developers who were like, oh yeah.
What were some of the ones? Finance, something, yeah, some of the finance that was like, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. What was that?
No, I was saying go ahead. But yeah, Solidity Finance jumped in that same thread, is like, oh yeah, this is bad and wrong, and this is a vulnerability, and someone could actually build an exploit and drain the contract, you know. Good luck.
Exactly. So they have no out to say that they didn't know.
Right.
The only thing is they can say we decided not to listen.
And I mean,
so, you know, good luck with that.
You don't have to thank your editor. Professional about it, you know. They're really mean, and I mean they're like calling and sicking their.
They're really young. They're really young. But Tyler Guterin is young. Sean Wilkinson is young. Juan Bennett is young. Who else is young? I mean, you've got to have a certain level of professionalism, and quickly learn in this space, especially when you're dealing with people's money. Quickly learn from your mistakes. And so I'm rooting. I hope that they fix it, but I don't want to be the person to say I told you so. And I'm a little trollish. I'm telling you right now, people. I'm gonna tell you, I told you so.
You want to be the person, trust me. And look, and for full transparency, I own a bag of SafeMoon. That's right.
I know you do. I heard you say with our money. I was like, I wanted to say when you said that, when you went with your money, I'm not in SafeMoon.
No, I want to study it. I mean, like I'm trying to see. I mean, what's great about
I did a little more conservative and did SafeMars because it seemed to address that. I also SafeMars as a sister site. I don't say Earth, but I like the fact that they angled it towards because I'm really big on clean water. My brother owns a water filtration business, so they've got this whole clean water. So I might get some Safe Earth like later. I like things that are tied to funding for stuff that needs fixing. But tell us about CETO. You talked about before about how rug pools, and to be honest, before you even start talking about CETO, was our second or third. Our second pick, we have something called Always Been on Black, hashtag ABOB. And Clever was our first pick we talked about last week. And CETO was the second because they had a countdown clock. when we started talking about ABOB and we picked Clever and we started talking about Clever, I went back and I was looking at, because you said you didn't know when you heard about CETO. I told because I was already looking at, there's something, we're going to name some more that are not, they don't have their logos up. But I think it was Real Finance, Reflector Finance. They're all on Ethereum and CETO. So I had a bunch of them that I was kind of pseudo following. But the other ones, like Reflector Finance, already had 2,000 people or whatever. And I knew we were going to have to touch and try to do some DeFi. And the whole Hourglass thing seems very simple compared to loaning and borrowing. People get into loans and stuff like that. So it just so happens that after we started, talking and launching ABOB, that CETO had a countdown clock of like 3 days. So I was like, it's either now or never. We don't have the opportunity. A lot of times we don't see when people have a countdown clock. Any earlier than that. So I didn't really, I had sort of a good sense,
Deidra,
but didn't really have a clear sense.
What's the significance of the countdown clock?
Hype.
Oh, the countdown clock. When we looked at CETO had not launched yet. It had not opened for you to buy into the contract. Mm-hmm. And because our Hourglass contracts or people going in early having a greater benefit, if anything, it's true of Bitcoin. It's true. Every cryptocurrency out there has a first in.
Oh, but it's a
if you had, how many emails, how many posts have you seen that if you had bought Ethereum in 2010, you would have for $70, it would be $5 million. If you
I heard
had
the same thing when I bought
everything follows this model.
Yeah.
If you had bought Bitcoin in 28, you wouldn't be talking to us.
If you had bought Apple stock, it won. So everything is a Ponzi.
Everything.
So seeing the clock said to me, this one is it. If we're gonna try it, it's gonna have to be this one, because I think it was Reflector Finance already had like 2,000. I know they have 2,000 Twitter files. I went to the page and I couldn't really figure out how many people were in the. I didn't know how to go to look at the contract to see how many wallets. I do know how to do that stuff now, but at that time I didn't know that. But I knew they had about 2,000 Twitter followers when I saw them. But it doesn't matter. I was following all these people. So CETO had this clock. And I was like, all right, it's a now or never. Let's explain as much as possible as we can. And I actually literally forgot, sorry, Edwardo, draft based on these comments as much as I talked to Edwardo. So it was like, oh, he took it and started running. I know this. And a proof of weekends. And
I made a video. And
who also was in Recons. So they took it and ran with it. And I was like, good, because I don't really have to explain it as much. I kind of got, all anything I kind of got was you're sharing the taxation. You agree to be taxed high on the way in and the way out. And then with CETO, you also have penalty tax if it, and you can go and explain, because you're better explaining than I am. How does CETO prevent against these so-called rug pulls? Or at least fluctuations in dips in prices of its Hourglass contract.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I thought CETO was really cool because the issue with the pump and dumps that we found with honestly with P3D, but honestly any of we call them shit clones in the P3D community, because it was open sourced, which is the only way to go is everyone can inspect your code, and people just clone the hell out of it, and they would. They didn't even need to have an exploit. They would just pump it, and then dump it once it reached a certain, height. The whales would. So what I thought was cool about CETO, what they did was that they put a 30-day early withdrawal penalty, which is something I hadn't seen before in any of these contracts. Whereas it's like in the first 10 days, if you sell, you lose 75% of your shit. If you sell in 10 days after that, 10 to 20, you lose half. If you sell, 20 to 30th day, you lose 25%. But if you wait the full 30, then you'll have access to 100% of your value, less, of course, the 10% in and 10% out. And they make it really easy for you because they have because one thing that P3D didn't have was like an auto reinvest feature where CETO they have like an auto reinvestment bot where you can kind of customize it to go, check once a day. If you have this much Tron in your wallet, they'll actually take out from the dividends the Tron needed to process the transaction. Anything over the top of that, they'll reinvest for you. That's pretty cool. So you can do that from once a day down to once a minute if it's working right. So sometimes it's a little buggy, so it doesn't work all the time as designed. But still, you have it checking for you. So because sometimes there is fun, I know, especially when there's a bull market, and always be refreshing the page and checking your stats and checking your dollar value and stuff like that. But if all you want to do is set it and forget it, CETO's made it super simple, to do that. And so I thought that was pretty cool too. The 30-day thing. I think they tweeted on launch day. What did they say? People can FOMO in, but people can't FOMO out. It's true. And this is an example I love to use. All right, so let's say there's a whale. Let's say Deidra, you're a whale. You got $3 million. You want to dump in CETO, right? So you come in today with $3 million in Tron on the CETO. Instantly, $300,000 worth of Tron is taken out, spread out to all of us. We're living big, right? It's great. 30 days goes, got your auto reinvest. You're auto reinvesting. CETO's got its games up and running. People are coming in, going, whatever. Transactions are flying, right? Let's say you've doubled your money, and honestly, in 2.5 months, if you got in on day one, you're probably somewhere around 500 to 700%, depending on the price of Tron. Like seriously, if you haven't taken any money out and you've just been auto reinvesting. That's as of yesterday, I think the last video I did on Blacks and Bitcoin podcast, I think I was up 502%, and that's when Tron was down. It was down like a couple cents from the day before. So anyway, so let's say you've been reinvesting for a month, Deidra, and you're ready to pull out, and you can just leave it in. There's no one says you have to get out. It's 30 days. Let's say you've done your experiment, you're good. Now your 3 million is now 7 million. All right, and then so when you pull it, then when you're withdrawing $700,000. Worth of Tron gets taken out and spread as dividends to all of his other token holders. Thanks, Deidra. Appreciate it. And you basically doubled your money, but you've also helped out everyone behind you who's still holding. And so let's say, Bob, you come in on the day Deidra's leaving, and you see she's leaving, and the price drops, but you got all these dividends and stuff, but you're like, all right, well, all the money left and the price of the token dropped, I'm out. Well, you're kind of stuck because if you leave, you'll lose 75% of your stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can do it. I mean, and I think I saw one or two addresses early on when CETO first launched test it. Maybe they thought they were bluffing. Well, they weren't bluffing because they lost 75% of their stuff. And what happens with that penalty fee is that 75% or 50% or 25% gets spread out as dividends to all the rest of us elephant holders. Shout out to the herd. I see y'all out there in Discord. Shout out to the herd. And so it almost incentivizes people to just stay put, stack their divs. Once the 30 days is up on their initial deposit, they're free to go. Less than 10%. But my strategy, my personal strategy, because I've seen what can happen with a fully functioning, popular high transaction, Hourglass contract like P3D. I've seen it. I just want to build enough capital to the point where if there's enough transactional activity going on in CETO, I just scoop dividends. Like maybe once a week, just scoop dividends. If it's big enough, once a day, scoop dividends, and be on my way and just never touch the principal. That's my personal strategy.
Now, what's Just Game?
Yeah, people. If I've seen. Oh.
Yeah, no, okay. I'll describe it briefly. I mean, it's really convoluted. I can't say I understood 100% what it was when I went in, but Just Game was actually so. All right, so the P3D guys, they called themselves Team Just, an anonymous development team, just like CETO. God, I hope they're not behind CETO. An anonymous development team who created P3D. And it just occurred to me, oh my God, these guys could be behind CETO. What the hell? Anyway, but they so Team Just created a P3D and got like a real, and kind of like with SafeMoon, with a little bit less fanaticism, got a lot of our mind share. We're really excited. A lot of us made money, in P3D. We were ready to follow them wherever they went. When they released their first game, FOMO 3D, kind of another Ponzi-ish style lottery game, that made us a lot of, that pumped our bags for a weekend, then dropped. So then we were all kind of waiting with bated breath what their next project was. And they strung us out for like a year. It was pretty impressive. It was an impressive piece of just kind of community management, I must say. And then they finally dropped a game, I think in like November or December 2019, called Just Game. It was based on the Tron blockchain. And so we were kind of like, Tron, but I was like, all right, well, Tron's cheap. I think it was trading about like 1 cent or 2 cents. It was really low. I remember telling Deidra, like a noob, like an idiot, that oh my God, this thing's gonna be so huge. It's gonna raise the price of Tron. You gotta get some Tron. I'm sorry, Deidra, you got some Tron back then. Well, now it probably paid off. It was so cheap. We got some Tron.
I don't understand this.
We got some Tron for this game, and there was another type of, lottery. Well, not quite. Yeah, bit lottery elements, bit Ponzi-ish, bit, kind of just, you want to get in early, right? You had to buy these things called boxes, and it was really convoluted, but I was in. I didn't care about the rules. I was in. Well, as it turns out, I can't quite say they rug pulled us. I think the appropriate term for this is called a honeypot. Something with the code was either. And if you go to the P3D or the Team Just Discord, that there are people who are like studying this right now. So there's a timer element to it where once a timer went down, the last 100 top holders of boxes would get this huge prize. I think it's up in the millions of US dollars worth of Tron that's sitting out there. Well, something is either broken or was a planned exploit where the timer went off and we're now in negative time. No one got the money, and the only people who can unlock the funds are the admins, who haven't been heard of or seen in over a year. So it was a honeypot. They trapped our money. I mean, you can still pull out some of your original money, but people are still kind of hoping to be in the last 100 boxes to win like a split of the big, $1 million prizes or whatever. And I just got out. It was just dumb. So, but they got me good. And as it further turned out, so much drama in crypto. It turns out Justin Sun himself under the table paid these guys $500,000 to create a Tron-based game for him, because he was one of the. I always thought I was curious why Justin Sun, of all people, dumped like a ton of Tron into the game early, and then he also exited fairly early as well, and left the rest of us holding the bag. I mean, Justin Sun, man, he is committed to doing anything possible to create interest in his Tron blockchain. He's something else, man. He's something else. That's Just Game.
All right. Wow.
Oh man, I remember seeing that, and I was like, buy some boxes. I was like, oh no, I don't really get that. But in terms of this Hourglass contract, since we've been and stuff like that, and there was actually somebody talking about an old video about that this contract template or beginner's template for having a bankless bank. Because if you think about it, when you're dealing with banks and you're dealing with fees, those fees go to the employees of the bank. I mean, it's the profitability of the bank. But if you have some type of contract that on and just decides to do, I think the good thing about SafeMoon is they played around with the 10% model. Like, CETO stays true to older contracts and says, look, 10%, and it's going to go to all the coin holders. But they did something a little bit different and said, well, 5% will go to holders, and then we're going to split, the additional 5% to do something else. So you're seeing more and more of that type of thing where people playing around with this high transaction fee. And the highest I've seen, I think, is Reflective Finance, 10% or something like that. But playing around with the fee, kind of execute something different and do something. 2019, that these are models. It could be very good models for crypto banks, where you have something where you're holding money in.
Oh, and we lost Deidra.
But yeah.
I'll pick it up from there. And as far as the crypto banking part, when I try to explain it to people who are new to new to DeFi or even crypto, I kind of like CETO as kind of like a short-term IRA, or almost like a CD, a certificate of deposit. Only, I mean, where else can you make 500% in 2.5 months? I mean, and definitely not in the bank. So
right.
I mean, so I like the trustlessness of it. I like the fact that it's automated, the code is open. I mean, in my little 6 months worth of HTML or whatever, I mean, I kind of read the code as best I could and saw like, the admins, as opposed to say SafeMoon, where they can do a lot of monkeying around with the financial functions, with CETO, like all they can really do is like maybe change the name and like adjust the price of referrals, and that's it. Everything else like front end stuff, but the actual contract, the financial functions, they can't do anything. And also, this kind of reminds me too, as far as like, we put a lot of trust into things. We don't even think about it. Like when you put your money in a bank, you trust it's going to be.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of trust. Yeah.
It's backed by some, the FDIC or whatever, up to a certain amount. But what happens, and if you have like $1 million in the bank and the bank goes under, you've lost 75% of your money. Whereas with crypto, everything, at least with a lot of DeFi, most of the code is open. You can see how it works. When there's a lot of community help as far as like kind of crowdsourcing solutions and stuff like that. And when even CETO had a problem, maybe about 2 weeks in, where their contract kind of broke, there's a hidden bug in their contract, they were professionals about it, if you ask me. They communicated with us, fairly clearly. They, froze the funds, moved it to a new contract with it fixed, and everyone got their money back. Plus, I got 12 more CETO, which is cool. So, I mean, that's why I kind of look at the SafeMoon guys like, okay, I get you're young and excited, but, we can be professionals about this. We've seen it happen. You don't see, the Ethereum, the guys had the Ethereum Foundation or whatever, half in the bag, showing off, car promotions like that. We can be, you can be, or going at their competitors within all caps, thread of tweets, hating on them, we can all be a little better with this in crypto. So.
Well, I mean, I think, we want to just sum one part of it up, because there was so much noise on the list about SafeMoon and so much emotion. And it's like, chill out a little bit and don't get offended if people challenge the technology of your favorite coin, because if your favorite coin can't stand up to an audit of its technology, should you really be investing? I mean, a lot of people just are jumping into coins like they're penny stocks, and what was that movie? Ben Affleck is running the boiler room, and I got this stock that you got to get into. It's like, I got this coin you got to get into, and people are like so thirsty to be. And there was one guy on the list who was just irritating me, because his whole rationale was, well, I got in, in such and such, and already I got such and such, and it's like, that is a short sliver of time telling us what your results are. But if we don't know why it's going up, it can go down just as fast as it went up. So, what do you?
Yeah, someone in Facebook, I mean, with a straight face was like, oh yeah, SafeMoon's anti-pump and dumpable. I'm like, we've seen it pump and dump in the last few days, just off of bad news for the contract. It was up at like 401399 at its height, I think, and then now it's down to like 40467 or something last time I checked. I mean, I'm not, and even, well, I guess you can try to pump and dump something like CETO, but I mean, I kind of don't see how it works quite like any of the other tokens. But I mean, everything, I mean, it's the emotion is wild. I am very kind of, I mean, it's very curious, if not a little scary, how overly invested people are into this stuff. I mean, hell, if CETO when they broke their contract, or if they break their contract or try to do a rug pull on me, I'll be cussing their asses out too. There's no loyalty in this. I don't love I love the gains you get me. All right, I love the fact that you guys are working on your roadmap. Don't tell. I'm not loyal to anything. I mean, I used to love ETH. I didn't have like a huge pile of it, but I used to love ETH until I saw in a weekend what happens when one contract, P3D, crippled the Ethereum network because it was so popular. It cost them like $60, which I know right now is like almost average for ETH. It cost $60 to send any bit of money, not only just to the contract, but to anywhere on the Ethereum network because everyone was FOMOing into their FOMO 3D game. I mean, and after that, I'm like, I can't build on ETH. It's just too expensive. Anytime the network heats up, we can't have a cinema draft token on that. So I'm not loyal to anything. I'm just loyal to stuff that works. It works for me right now and will work for me in the future. That's it. You're on notice, CETO. don't mess up.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem. So I hope folks are finding this useful.
I mean, we say even with ABOB, it caused a conniption with some people that how dare we look at startups that won't see coin. Well, the fee that my man from New York was a villain. Is that going high? The fee that going high. So in order to people that don't have a lot of disposable income entered into the crypto space as stakers, as people who are in CETO or something like that, they've got to have something where they can get much of their actual money in without having to face fees. CETO has moved into Ethereum, and it's just like it's like why? But you got to look at the products. You got to look at the white papers. You got to look at the there's a debate that I was having. It's a member that needs to out of the trading world, more people out of the stock world, and use technology like you do with penny stocks. You just can't do it, and then railroading your quote unquote team into something that's going to implode massively because the youngsters who were 12 to 14 years old that got in early in Bitcoin and became millionaires, and this is the story that Rick Dilley told us. We had an in-group chat, and Rick Dilley, if you don't know, Vulcanize, he does consulting work for a lot of different contracts, and he's like basically these young kids who became millionaires in their parents' basement are the SafeMoon people because they're in their early 20s and they have a lot of disposable income. So if they're busy, wink, nod, rug pulling one another, doesn't really mean much to them. But if you're
let me jump in real quick on that. Let me jump in real quick on that because it's just something from my travels in the DeFi universe, like Reddit, Crypto Moonshots. Reddit has like a very interesting Discord. It's paid Discord, like $5 a month, but worth it just to see what people are talking about and what they're planning to pump and stuff. And it was uncovered in that Discord that there's like a group of wallet addresses and contract originators that just keep churning out shitcoin after shitcoin to pump it, to just essentially rug pull it and move on to the next one. And they're sitting on a cache of $250 million of the crypto. They can do this all night long, all day long, all year long. So just be aware that those are out there. Definitely, well, if you can read the code, but or definitely read the white papers. Seek second opinions. You have to just do your own research. Like you say in group, DYOR, do your own research because they're out there to separate you from your money. And there are enough people out there who help inflate these, whether on purpose or accidentally, because they've timed their entrances and exits properly into these shit coins, and they're willing to jump into it again. They don't care. Like I've gone to the space of trying to shill. I've tried to shill CETO, and y'all, let's shill CETO some more. This thing's great. But I've been laughed out of those spaces in Crypto Moonshots because they're like, 500-600% in 2 months. Psh, if I ain't 10xing in a day, I don't want it. If I ain't 100xing in a week, I don't want it. Even if they know there's a 70% chance of being rug pulled, they don't care. The 30% chance they can 10x or 100x makes up for it. So
it's the dopamine.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and look, you're an adult. Everybody's entitled to invest how they want to invest. But it just seems to me that even if traders are still careful about what they get in and get out because you have to somehow manage your risk. And when your risk is that the whole thing can get pulled right out from under you. That's not really it's not really a good risk. I'm just saying.
Hey, and actually, Deidra, let me ask you. So any reason? Well, even before you did like the homework on SafeMoon, and maybe it's because you did the homework on SafeMoon. Can you tell people why, like, we didn't seriously consider it for ABOB, or why you didn't seriously consider it for ABOB? Oh, okay. I think she's all right. Well, Deidra's having some technical issues, but from some of the chats we had in the Discord and in the group, the ABOB Discord and also BPNC. I mean, they're, and I've made a post, to the effect of, my part of my one of the careers of my past is, small time professional poker player. And so I know my risk profile may be different than yours. I'm, he's taking calculated risks for a living. And the thing I respect about ABOB, even though obviously I've dove into SafeMoon and SafeMars and Strains, some other up and coming tokens, is that it's conservative by nature, because we do have a heady mix of both super experienced people and also neophytes to the space. And as a group collectively, if we want to pump a coin or a token, we want to do it for for the long haul. We're not here to for quick kills. That not only is it bad bad ethically, whatever, but also in the long run, we figure we'll probably make more money and better money just by being smart about it. So I get why she wasn't really ready to recommend even Strains Finance, which was started by a BPNC group member. She's kind of waiting for the product side of our our three pillars, price, product, plan. She's kind of waiting on the product side before she jumped in on it. And turns out that was a smart call too, because I got in once again front running the group. I got in at like 33 cents in pre-sale. I was very excited to watch it zoom up to like $1 and some change. And then once it got listed on PancakeSwap, it dove down to 5 cents. And now I think they're having some sort of burn issue. So there is something to be said for being patient and conservative.
So
I was just telling the ABOB philosophy.
Yes. So Deidra has changed the batteries in her router now.
Yeah. I mean, it's not if I choose this location, which is further away from my router, that I definitely need to connect it with stuff. It wasn't a problem earlier, but I was like, oh my goodness. It was like kept saying, move close to your router, I was like, yeah. Anyway.
Or get you an Ethernet cord.
Yeah,
Ethernet cord.
Yeah, I do, but I just want to think about it because I'm always I usually use the Wi-Fi by the other one, but I'm like right by the router. So, but yeah, I think I have hope that SafeMoon will do it. I'm still going to go back to the group and drag some people for cheerleading and marketing and ignoring the exploits. Because you're hurting people. These young 20-something guys, it's no big deal for them to lose $1 million here and there. I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't reporting that they're worth millions of dollars and they're 20-something years old and they're playing these little games. Well, it's fun when it's between them. It's just not fun when it's between those of us who are 20 plus. 2020 plus that you have these new people who are new to crypto that are coming out of the stock world and giving advice to people to go headlong into Doge and go headlong, like as if Doge hasn't been pumped and dumped for over 8 years and never produces anything. And you don't want SafeMoon to become that same thing, especially not with this type of contract, which has if it's designed, like I said early on, code is like art. If, you can use the same thing, oil painting or whatever, and someone else does an oil painting and it's just straight garbage, and someone else does it, same oil painting, and it's beautiful. If people use this Hourglass contract with some type of consciousness behind it, it could help a lot of people actually be bankless. And stay encrypted. You want to park your money somewhere that's earning you some type of dividends, whether you have any activity in and out of the contract or not. I mean, me as a serial hodler, it made sense to me. It made sense to me. I don't care. I'm getting taxed 10% and it's going to the pool because I wasn't planning what I put there. I wasn't planning on moving it around anyway. I'm not a trader. So your trader mindset, you're a different thing. You're like, oh, it slowed down. You know, even when we're in our Discord, we constantly get people like, you know, whether they're talking about Clever or they're talking about Theta or they're talking about CETO. Oh, well, what's the numbers? What's the numbers? What's the numbers? Because they have that trader mindset. It's dipping. I need to jump somewhere else. It's rising. Or buying it to sell. They're moving when they think it reaches peak, so they can get something else. And this is not designed for that. This is a savings account, as CETO has written. I like to call it a 401k or IRA because of the type of penalties. If you're outside of your anniversary window, your 30th anniversary window is more analogous to me. You know, IRAs and stuff like that, 3 to 5 years. This is just 30 days. I probably, I had some Tron that was sitting around for over a year.
My bad.
It's my, yeah, you wanted me to do that game and I couldn't do that game because I didn't, it was the just game, the thing we were talking about. And I was like, boxes, huh? What? I don't have time for that. I'm busy talking in BPC. I don't have time to be deciding whether to sell a box. I didn't want to I didn't want to do it. How about that? But CETO made sense to me, even though I didn't know it was the same contract. But still makes sense. Half the time, I'm not even looking at my CETO. I just go 3 or 4 days and like, oh yeah, and I manually flip my divs. I just said today, I guess I should turn on auto read so I don't have to actually find it fun to manually flip the switch. Oh, look, how much divs I got. Should I take it out? No, I'm not taking it out. I'm compounding flip.
Yeah, no, it costs you out of pocket if you don't set the auto reinvest. At least with the auto reinvest, they take it.
I just said the auto because it is taking. It is pay. I am paying Tron transaction fees on that. I'm gonna say not gonna look. No, I'm really not gonna look at it. But
I took the just game off the screen because I don't want you to get triggered.
I didn't get it, and it's too involved. I'd be constantly making things where I would open or sell a box. I don't have time for that, which is why I don't do a lot of the DeFi things. I don't have time with something. I'm busy trying to either monitoring the group or just looking at new things for the group, or I'm back behind on articles. I have a presentation tomorrow at 2 that I haven't finished. I have to get back to another person who months ago asked me to go on her show, and I wasn't feeling well, so I get it. So I don't have time. I just want to set it and forget it. That's it. I don't want to open up.
All right.
So yeah, I had no time for that, and I was going to do it, and I was like, yeah, forget it.
So Deidra, we got a question from someone.
Hourglass, no matter who's doing it, it kind of works for me. Yeah.
Deidra,
did I hear you correctly earlier? Yeah, I'm looking at it. Did I hear you correctly earlier that you said SafeMars is better than SafeMoon? And you have some SafeMars. Yeah, I took a dip into SafeMars and Strange Finance. Strange Finance actually uses the same contract, although they're going through something right now. But mainly because SafeMars, this brouhaha of between SafeMoon and Warren Ruggs, which also has its own FairMoon thing. Basically, what Warren Ruggs was saying, that if you just burn the liquidity tokens that you receive, then we know you can't rug pull that. We can't buy it that way. And SafeMars says on its site that they burn the liquidity tokens. So I don't put too much. I'm like kind of like Edwardo, like experimenting with some additional Hourglass finance. So I was like, I'll do that over, even though SafeMoon has the marketing. I said, nah, I'd rather go with that and say, well, dag, all they have to do is bring attention to their marketing, because it's just like better art. It's just better execution contract. And then unfortunately, it's come to a point now that a lot of times when things rise in our group and it's highly marketed, my immediate mindset goes to, this is garbage. And let me go find why it's garbage. Because there's a disconnect between what's hitting the affiliate marketing funnels and what's really good in crypto. It's a big, huge disconnect in that. So when SafeMoon came out of the gate, like, beginning of this week, last week, whatever it was, because it hasn't even been a week, I was like, when are we going to learn when the crap is? That's how bad of a disconnect there is between what is highly marketed and what is really good. And I'm not a Machiavellian. I just don't believe in, it's good enough and it's all the same. It doesn't matter. And if the price is assuming, you just jump in, because now you're really supporting. It's really hurting more Americans than anybody else. Although globally people can participate in these things, it's really Americans that actually to the mediocre and market it to like high heaven, and then think it's not hurting us in the long run. We have some really smart person in this country, in this world, and we're not supporting what they're doing right. And I think it goes back to it started during the .com era. I mean, Bob and I know, and even in our work, you always do some people that were really good at what they did, and they couldn't get funding for anything, couldn't get anything off the ground, and yet some really whack VCs funded some really whack stuff and made it look all shiny and new. And those of us who are in the space, we were like, crap, this is such crap. So I think now it's like a heightened level that it's affecting the blockchain space. And I don't know what it's like to be in Germany and be German and look at dev, or be in the Netherlands coming out the gate with a lot of great products, to be in Singapore, to be in Israel. These are countries that pay attention, and even to some extent, India, but in South Korea, definitely, Japan, definitely. These are people who value great product. Somehow or another, we lost it. I don't know if it was with Microsoft and NT servers or what, but we lost that marketing mediocrity is not a good thing. And it's really hurting us as a nation, and it's definitely hurting us in the blockchain space. And we've got to get back to trying to find those gems. So, the reason why we're talking about Hourglass contracts is no matter what happens with SafeMoon, and I hope that no one gets rug pulled, but if they just shore everything up, they have a good, right now they have a crap product. If they a good product with fantastic market, that's better than crap development that's hyping and too risky.
Well, here's the thing that me in the group was that all these people who, I mean, we really tried to push the ABOB. It started as like a reaction to the Wall Street bets, how they were able to kind of pump, Doge and AMC and all that sort of stuff. And we didn't even get, I mean, and when we collectively decide we're gonna, back these few projects, whatever, some people got on great, and some people were like, all right, we'll wait and see. But then second, SafeMoon, I mean, I don't know what the exact point was, because SafeMoon's been out. SafeMoon hasn't even been in existence for 2 months. I think they launched on February 28th. So it's like 7 weeks old. I mean, the second that it crossed down to some imaginary threshold where people were like, I became a millionaire because I bought it, on the billionth token or something like that. I mean, everyone in our group, a lot of it was affiliate marketing, probably, but then people who were ordinary, rational people who thought that was too risky for them, or too complicated to get. It's just Tron, for crying out loud. They're like, all right, let me go through 10 hoops and swap this and through 3 different dexes or whatever to get me some SafeMoon. After
Edwardo, you know how I feel about this. Let's be frank. There's no way that you're a gaga and you figured out how to SafeMoon. It's 8 gazillion steps to get SafeMoon, but you couldn't buy Litecoin to switch to Tron to use a web wallet to use the exchange. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. There's the idea that, oh yeah, all Black people should gather together and we go as kind of hive mind, which I don't even agree with. I believe in choice. I just believe in, you present a bunch of things. If you did 1 or 2 or you did all, doesn't matter. It would still be, if we're sharing knowledge and information, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But if you got all these people that are swearing they're doing all the stuff in SafeMoon, but they thought CETO was too difficult, you're lying. There were fewer steps. The other thing is you're lying at SafeMoon. Because some of the things that some people comment on or when they have difficulty with, I'm like, Dad, that's easy, but you swear you're in SafeMoon? You can't be in SafeMoon. You can't, because you can't figure out how to use this wallet to do a swap last week, but now you SafeMoon this week. So that's why I said there's a lot of marketers in our group, a lot of pumpers. There's a lot of people who came out. The thing I like about CETO is that I know they got a small team. Well, it's not big. 70. I think they have 7 years now. The thing I like about those two projects is that what messaging tells me that they must be outside of the Silicon Valley circle. Because I've seen people that have liked SafeMoon posts that were calling CETO Ponce, but it's the same contract. That's why I wanted to do this show. Because now everybody's listening to our group now. I'm telling you right now, everybody who did that is a straight up hypocrite. If you're looking at the purity of the code, you know it's the same thing. That means you're lying to somebody. You're straight up lying.
Probably to yourself. And let's be honest. I mean, anything that doesn't. I mean, everyone called Bitcoin a Ponzi when I first got in April 2013. You couldn't spend it anywhere. I was just buying in on the concept. Like I could see where it was going. And anything. I mean, if you get in early on anything, you're a Ponzi. The biggest Ponzi scheme to me, honestly, is the U.S. dollar. All right, that thing has lost 97% of its value over the last 100 years. The dollars we're spending now are worth less in purchasing power than they were just 20 years ago. So don't even talk to me about Ponzi scheme. Whatever. Anyone who gets in early on anything is set up for success, and you need to look at how something on what the roadmap is, whether they have products coming, and even CETO has put up code for their lottery style game called Big Tent. I think it should be going to testnet pretty soon, and then we all get to take a look at it for like a few days, whatever, and see if there are any bugs. But if you're early on anything, they're going to call it like a Ponzi scheme if there's no real utility. But at least these guys are working on utility. And to SafeMoon's credit, I think
it's more than that. I think there's a dividing line because Tron is not treated like Binance. In our group, Binance is the holy grail. It's a copy of Ethereum. Tron is crap. It's a copy of Ethereum.
That's true too.
So somebody's lying. You're lying. So I'm like, all right, let me look for outliers because Silicon Valley ain't ever done nothing for us.
Hey, Edwardo, I want to go back for a second because somebody.
That's it.
Somebody had asked a question about USwap, and I know you had some thoughts on it.
Oh God, all right. Well, I just did a cursory look at USwap, and it's Tron-based decentralized exchange protocol. I haven't even clicked on this. I'm just reading the clip on DappRadar. It says, "What is USwap? It's an improved version of the Uniswap V2 project launched to the Tron network by the Eclipse City team." I don't mess with Eclipse City. I'm sorry. They are an MLM. MLM marketing, bless your hearts. Do what you got to do. Just don't do it around me. I'm good. All right. That's another thing too I like about CETO is that there's only one level referral. People who call it MLM didn't read the white paper. They're like, no, just one level referral. That's it. Just like as if you were referring somebody to Netflix or something. It's not, I don't mess with MLMs because those economics also fall pretty quick. And maybe they've been able to sustain something. I don't know. Actually, let me click on this thing on DappRadar. Bob, why do you have to bring this up? Goodness gracious.
No, somebody asked, I want to get people their questions answered. We give it to them straight,
this is, good for them. They've got decent volume, got a lot of users. Their balance is pretty low. So, they don't keep money in the contract. I guess it's more transactional, whatever. But I don't mess with MLMs. Sorry, not going to do it. And I think this was just probably, it might have been someone, I'm not sure if someone's like marketing this in our feed or whatever, but I don't mess with MLMs. I'm good. Go with Viacom Diaz. If you make money off it, excellent. If you and your network make money off it, go with God. I'm going to stick over here with my little, CETO referral code. My little, I think I've made a whole 56, Tron off my referrals anyway. So I'm not trying to get rich off CETO through others. I'm just not about that. I'm not. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, we don't let, if anybody in BPC, you don't drop, even our ABOB pips, you don't drop any referral links. No one has seen me ever drop a referral link in anything that I'm in. Keep your referral links to the people you've met in person that your family, your friends, and all that kind of stuff like that. It really trashes up the group. We had a big implosion in the group where someone got kicked out of the group because they wanted to double down specifically on Ellipse City. That person's actually in our Discord and behaving. So it shows that people do have self-control when they feel you have something of value that they want to be in. But they had a conniption in our group and they had it to be tossed because you got into nasty name calling just because they wanted to share Ellipse City referral things. And then they would say, oh, but you don't need to have a team. You don't need to have referrals. Okay, so then what's the problem then? Start your list and don't worry about the referral links. Oh, so the referral links are important. And that's what I like about CETO. You're a benefit user. And there's no, and if I referred somebody, even if I said, yo, Bob, here's my referral link, because I know Bob personally, and he did, Bob goes off and gets 10, 13 other people, that doesn't mean anything for me. Only Bob is my referral. There's no multi-level, but with Ellipse City, there's multi-level.
Yeah.
So it's and mind you, Clever has invite code referral links. The only people I've used it with is my immediate family and some relatives, and I don't even use mine. I use my son's because I'm like, he's not paying attention to crypto, and why he should earn the trickle down, because by the time he wakes up a couple of years later, he'll have something that's already somewhere. And I don't have to give it to him directly. So it makes sense. I tell people even in the group, I was like, you can cover. They've asked me, can you send me as their thing pop up? It makes you think you can't bypass it unless you look at the fine print. It says skip referral code. It makes you think you have to plug in an invite code. So I know people get stumped. They're like, oh, so they're DMing me. And I'm just like, just skip it. But before you do that, why don't you got a teenager in your family? Put it on their phone first. They're not going to use it. Just put it on their phone, back up the seed phrase, back up the pin. So even if they take it out, doesn't matter. Get their invite, then put it on your phone. So now, because you're going to go play. Now, once you start going playing and using the swap and stuff like that, they get to trickle down for it. So the same thing with CETO. You got an invite code. Just your immediate family and your friends. Stop trying to make a business out of soliciting strangers. It's one thing if you're doing a presentation somewhere and then you're like, okay, I did this free presentation, and I don't even do that for my pre-presentation. You give a presentation like, hey, you want to support me and you interested in joining this program, use my referral code. That's cool. But you in a group with a bunch of strangers with cartoon profile pics and you getting mad because I won't let you put up a referral link? Get out of here. No. So I don't do MLMs either. Can't say I've never done them, but I don't do them anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah, we've all,
you've all been like, oh man.
We've all been, part of one at some point.
So we're about an hour and a half in. I think we should probably start wrapping things up. But I think one of the things we can say is do your homework, folks. Stop just running around chasing stuff and not really looking at what's going on. And in particular, with regard to SafeMoon, we recommend that you check out this article, the Obelisk article on Medium, and you also can check out the Twitter feed for War on Rugs. And I think those are two sources that if you're serious about SafeMoon, go check it out. And, you don't have to take our word for it, but check out what people are saying. See if it makes sense to you. Maybe it doesn't make sense and you're all in tomorrow. That's fine.
And real quick, sorry, Bob. And also, if SafeMoon if War on Rugs is a bit too compromised for you because most people, retaliate with, oh, SafeMoon or War on Rugs is involved with FairMoon, a SafeMoon competitor, then check out some of the comments from Solidity Finance. And I think there's another guy on Twitter, BNB Link. They both are in that thread with War on Rugs discussing, the exploits that are available in the code.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but our main mission is we want people to be fully aware. So if they do take that risk, because people are going to take the risk anyway, we could tell people, we should bungee jump, but they're still going to bungee jump anyway. So if you're going to take the risk, you can't say you didn't have this information. And, as always, you're going to invest in anything. You don't do anything that you're not willing to lose in its entirety. This is not financial advice. The whole program has not been financial advice because we're not financial advisors. We're just giving our opinion about our experience in crypto and things that we're passionate about. But yeah, to close out, the whole point of this was not to bash SafeMoon. If they do well, they pull up all boats. So we're encouraging them to look seriously at these criticisms that are from other developers in the space and shore it up, so the rest of us can have an easier time and actually maybe jump on board with Edwardo into SafeMoon. But right now, it's a no for me. It's a no for me personally. I don't care how much you think you can
no
pull off.
But you got a little bit on SafeMars, and I hear Elon Musk is coming in on SafeMars.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, I guess that's good for SafeMars. I'm not an Elon Musk fan.
That was a joke, people. That was not actually real information. Somebody somewhere is like, Elon Musk is in SafeMars. How do I get SafeMars?
Like SafeMars right now is like, yeah, he is. Keep telling that lie, Bob.
Right.
Yeah, we need to be safe and be smart. And don't wreck themselves.
It's like you got to look at when the use case for a coin is marketing for another company, like Slim Jim marketing for Doge. It's like that's not a reason for you to invest, because you're just trying to catch a wave, and that's that's gonna crap out for you as many times as it works. So, but these are just our opinions.
Jen Love had a great. We talk about genres of coins. Jen Love said personally, there's a whole segment called casino coins. Know what they are, and make your money. But if you get wrecked, it was a casino coin. That's what it is.
It was a pure gamble, right? Yeah.
Yep. So, Deidra, who do we have on tap for next week? Are we set for that yet, or anything we can announce?
Well, I'm not confirmed for not ready to confirm. I'm waiting for some bios and some stuff, but coming down the pipe, I will say topic wise, we should have some things. Double back to NFTs, and then possibly have something on some strange finance maybe coming down the pipe. They've got issues. They actually use this Hourglass contract as well. Got some big issues that came out today that they need to remedy first, but I'm hoping to have the founder there for that, and also possibly some sports blockchain as well. So I don't want to say aside from strange finance, I don't want to say who else, but we got a couple of shows lined up for the next couple of weeks that cross different topics.
All right, folks. So keep it tuned to us on Thursday nights, and of course, you can always see lively discussion on the Black people and cryptocurrency on Facebook.
Thanks for having me.
Sometimes a little too lively, but there's always good information in there. So get the information for yourself. That's all it is. Don't get involved with all the personalities, because people just make statements like they've got the crystal ball. We're all trying to figure it out. So, and nobody's been 100% right yet. And there are a few people who are lucky and they think that they're geniuses, but they weren't geniuses. They were just lucky, because this is all brand new and everything that comes out gets tested. And it's the one reason why we stick to really looking at this technology, because you don't want to be the crash test dummy. Or maybe you do. I don't know. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Edwardo, you got any last wise words you'd like to share to the people?
Oh, I would never call my words wise by default. But I do thank you guys for having me on. Hopefully this kind of cleared up some of the differences and discrepancies between the Hourglass contracts, the history of Hourglass contracts, how shed some light on how and why ABOB works the way it does, and why we're 3 for 3. All of our coins all of our tokens or coins are up since we got in, and I'm just glad that we had this so that we can kind of go a little deeper in the discussion than is normally afforded in, say, a Facebook post.
Yeah. All right, folks.
Appreciate it.
All right. Be well. Stay safe. Keep